Eyros was once an Underhive dome rigger from Cogtown, one of the sweating, emaciated souls responsible for repairing the rusting pipe networks that fed the dismal settlement. When the eye blight came to Cogtown and its population began to die, Eyros and a group of dome riggers set off into the Underhive to find the scrap tech to save their town. Deep down in the sump wells close to Hive Bottom, the scavenging party found a vault of hidden treasures, among them a wondrous contraption that could extract life-giving water from almost anything. It was Eyros who donned the strange archaeo rig, its syringes and bone flutes burrowing into his flesh until all his organs pulsed in time with the machine. Unfortunately for Eyros, though it gave him strength and life, it also gave him a burning thirst. As it turned out, while water can be found in many things, few things in Necromunda have quite as much as humans. After Eyros had drained his companions, he returned to Cogtown and left only dust and scrap in his wake. He soon discovered that the potent fluids concocted in the harness could also be dispensed to his allies, and it was not long before Eyros began selling his services and water to gangs in exchange for fresh subjects to drink from. These days it is hard to tell how much of Eyros is left under the archaeo-cybernetics that have taken root within him, his features hidden under writhing wires and pitted armour. There is also no telling what Eyros will become once the archaeotech is done with him. Hello and welcome back to Wellywood Wargaming. My name is Damon, and in this episode we'll be looking at Eyros Slagmyst, one of the many Dramatis Personae hired guns in the game of Necromunda. Of course, I am doing a huge undertaking in giving you every single hired gun and Dramatis Personae, an agent and hanger-on in the entire game of Necromunda. I've only started though, and we're into the letter E as we go alphabetically through it, so huge undertaking. Please do support me by liking, sharing, subscribing, and of course if you want to support me even further, please do check out the Patreon as well. That would be much appreciated. But this is Eyros Slagmyst anyway. I just gave you a bit of the lore, and I have to say this guy's lore is certainly one of the best, one of my favourite anyway, in the whole of Necromunda. This guy's rules were written right at the very beginning of the newer release of Necromunda, and the miniature was also released very early on in the new edition of Necromunda as well. So his rules aren't quite as good as what you'd like them to be. However, the miniature is so cool and the lore is so cool that I have actually used this guy in quite a few games, and he isn't that bad overall, I would say. But let's look at the stats now. This guy is 270 credits, which is a whopping amount of creds in the game. Is he worth it for 270 credits? No, he's not. But is he cool? Yes, he's fucking cool. Let's just look at the stats before we look at the miniature though, to be honest. He's got a movement of 4, which is a bit slower than your average, so it's the same as a Goliath, which is a bit strange, I suppose. We've got a weapon skill of 3+, which is better than average, a ballistic skill of 4+, which is average. We've got a strength of 3 and a toughness of 4. Toughness 4 is always great, so I mean this guy's stats already are a little bit Goliathy, to be honest, even though he doesn't look like one. He's also got 2 wounds, an initiative of 5 up, which is not great. Only 1 attack though, a leadership of 5+, a cool of 7+, a willpower of 6+, and an intelligence of 6+ as well. He comes with Iron Jaw, Nerves of Steel, and True Grit, which is pretty cool. So Iron Jaw is not a great skill, it just means unarmed attacks make your toughness higher or something. Nerves of Steel, of course, if you roll a successful cool check, you remain standing instead of being pinned when you're shot at, which is fantastic, especially when you've got a cool of 7+. I mean, it's better on someone with better cool than that, but it's not too bad still. And True Grit as well, which means that you reduce the amount of damage that comes in after you go down to your last wound, basically. He's also got a las pistol, a knife, and frag grenades, which admittedly is not the best amount of gear there. The frag grenades are quite nice to have, but the knife and las pistol, pretty standard there. No range on this guy, no high damage dealing on this guy. That's kind of not the point, it's not what he's really for. He's got an armoured undersuit, a bio booster and furnace plates with a Medicae kit and photo goggles. So some nice equipment there actually. The photo goggles particularly useful, I would say, against smoke and in the darkness, of course. But furnace plates are decent from the front arc. He's got a 5-up save, but he's also got an undersuit, meaning that goes to a 4-up save. And he's got a bio booster there as well, which is nice to have with the Medicae kit too. And that's kind of, proxy for his gear that he's got on his back there. So that's what Eyros Slagmyst comes with. So as you can see, his stats are kind of weird. He's not the best. He's slightly better in close combat than he is at shooting, of course. You got those frag grenades and a las pistol if you do want to shoot, but he's better in close combat. Having toughness 4 and 2 wounds is always good, especially combined with true grit and nerves of steel. So basically this guy is just an annoying sort of screen that you throw in to games. We use him in a sort of bounty system, and he comes up quite a lot, mainly because the miniature is absolutely gorgeous. So let's talk about that now. The miniature for Eyros Slagmyst, I think, has got to be right up there as one of the best Forge World Necromunda miniatures I've ever seen. It's fantastic. I've got this one in the flesh and I've painted it up, and even though my paint job is okay, I still feel like I can't quite do this miniature justice. It's that good. What an amazing pose. The sort of samurai sort of hat that he's got on there, it's just fantastic. There's nothing I don't like about this miniature. I think many people would agree. And a lot of people slag him off, see what I did there, as just not being, good enough to play the miniature. Of course, you could use this miniature as proxy for something else, or you could use Eyros Slagmyst as an outcast leader in a gang. I wouldn't suggest it because he's not that great in game, but he's just so flipping cool that that's a reason in itself, I suppose. That's Eyros Slagmyst anyway. I highly recommend you get one of these models from Forge World. Because it is just such a gorgeous, gorgeous model. You could combine it pretty well with the Water Guild also from Forge World as well. Maybe you could have an outcast gang led by the Water Guild delegation and use Eyros Slagmyst or the model as one of the champions in that sort of equation. I think that would be pretty cool. But I'd love to see an entire gang looking like this guy. It would be really, really cool. I'd like to see someone convert up an entire gang with this sort of aesthetic. It would be very, very cool indeed. Anyway, I'm rambling now, so that's Eyros Slagmyst, and that's me, over and out.